If I look at the Apple Watch Series 3, the entry level, the first thing that I see is price. If I go over to SE, but once again, I lead with price. Heavy on features, light on price. But now look at what happens when we get into Series 6. The marketing platform is completely changed. Look what we didn't talk about at all. The first thing we talked about was health features and benefits. Nowhere is listed starting from X price. You and me, each of us, we have something I call a buying style, a preference for how we approach kind of that decision-making part of the buying journey. Now, in another video, we talked about how we're motivated by our values when we buy something. And that's really in the awareness or the consideration phase when we're really thinking about buying a thing. That's when we're thinking about how it makes us feel, or if the functionality of it is on point for us, or if we really love the flex. Today we're talking about 3 buying styles that we demonstrate and exhibit all the time, whether we're buying candy bars in the checkout line or a car or a house or something that's really meaningful to us. There's only 3 styles, but the thing is, they're dynamic. So the style that I have for one thing is not the same as I will have for another thing. And they also change moment to moment. I might feel differently or think differently about something as I'm exploring it, or as I'm getting new information, or more distortion in my process of research or in being delivered a marketing or sales message. It can even be micro moment to micro moment. I might start in one place and quickly move to another place as I'm experiencing something new with this. This is part of why this is important for us to cover. One is, as consumers, you and me, we're going through these things and we're not really aware that it's happening. But the brands, the good ones, and the businesses that we buy from, they know this stuff about us. And they're tailoring their marketing messages, their words, their images, their videos, even their pricing and how they focus and when they focus on pricing to accommodate what they know or what they think they know about us. I think it's in our best interests to be self-aware about this stuff. On the flip side, if you run a business or you are at all involved in leadership in a business where you're trying to get people to do something, could be sales, could be you're trying to make a sale, but could just be you're trying to get people to see your way of things or get people to move from one way of thinking to another. Maybe you are interviewing for jobs. You're trying to sell yourself in that situation. The more aware you are of these situations and of these scenarios, the more effective and proactive you can be against them. The worst thing that we can be when we're trying to run a business or sell a thing is either not on purpose, not intentional about our approach to this stuff, and you'll see why, or because we didn't know any better, we're doing exactly the wrong thing. We're going to look at all this today, including some specific real-world examples. Let's get into buying styles. My name is Chris Bintliff, and these are transmissions from Not Really Rocket Science, where we study the technology, techniques, learning, and lifestyle of the modern marketing engine. Okay, so we're keeping this really simple because we can get really complex. Marketing departments, guys like me, we will help companies build sophisticated personas and profiles so we can really get into the headspace of what makes the buyer or the ideal buyer that we're trying to target tick. We're going to keep it stupid simple. We start with a transactional customer. So our transactional buying style, I am a person who is trying to spend the least money or save the most money. That's what's really motivating me, is saving money or spending the least amount of money. I will spend a ton of time researching to try to get this done. And I will sometimes ask a lot of questions. I can even become a problematic customer to the brands and businesses I buy from because I'm always looking to see if you can make this a little bit of a sweeter deal for me. I'm not often very loyal. So I might do business with you 5 times, but if the guy down the street sells it to me for $5 cheaper, I'm going to do that. When we wait for Black Friday to buy the thing that we want to buy, that's a transactional buying style. We want to save money. It's more important to us that we save the money than that we get the thing right now. So the brands that we buy from, they have to accommodate this part of us by having really competitive prices, by having a wide inventory and a diverse inventory so that I can always pick and find the thing that I'm most looking for, and I won't be tempted to go down the street because you've just solved my problems at a great price right away. So transactional is the first buying style. Practical is the next buying style. A practical consumer is looking to save the most time or spend the least amount of time. So convenience is key to the practical buying style, to the practical buyer. They will often accept a lower value proposition, something that is not so ideal, just to check the problem off their list or get over the bridge with it or not have to deal with it anymore right now. I'll come back to it later. If you've ever been in a situation where you've said, well, do you have this in red? And they've said, no, sorry, we only have it in blue. Okay, I'll take it in blue. That's a practical buying behavior. That's a practical buying style. So the brands we buy from, they accommodate this by having more stores open at later hours, more availability. So if I have a pizza joint in a college town, I'm staying open till 3 a.m. because the practical buyers are going to be calling at 1:30 or 2, and I want to make sure I'm open. On the other hand, they're transactional. They're looking to save the most money, so I'm going to charge $6 for a large pizza. This way, I'm getting a lot of business and I'm turning over a lot of product with transactional and practical buyers. Examples of transactional businesses include Walmart, who built their entire business on let's have a huge amount of buying power and we'll use that to buy things for as little as we can, and then we'll sell them for as low a price as we can manage so that we won't have very high margins, the difference between what I sell it for and what I get to keep, but we'll have enough margins where we will still be profitable. Walmart is an example. Sears is an example of a business that was so transactional it drove itself into the ground. They were closing parts of its store because they didn't want to deal with the inventory. Examples of practical brands include Amazon, who make it really easy for me to do research and see what others think, but also when I am interested in something or buy something, I'm immediately promoted to, you might also want this, others also bought that. Makes it really easy for me to kind of have a one-stop shop. Best Buy has huge inventory, not specialists in one thing or another, in one brand or another, and they've got lots of stores in lots of places. Those are examples of practical brands. Here's the thing about us as transactional or practical buyers. We're not that tricky to sell to. You just need to come at us with the right price or the right time. That's it. And if I've got questions about how much lower can you go on that price or how fast can you get this done, you got to answer it the right way. And if you do, I'll probably do business with you. The better brands out there aren't content with just selling us the lowest price or the easiest or most convenient thing. They want us to come back again and again and again. To do that, they will create what I call an aspirational customer. The aspirational customer isn't born like the transactional and the practical, which we all are all the time, floating in between. Naturally, that's our sort of default setting. The aspirational customer has to be made or crafted or created. And that mostly happens from a great customer experience, a great buying experience, an unexpected or delightful buying experience. Examples of aspirational brands include Disney, especially their resorts and parks, who are trying to always deliver a really over-the-top experience, a really personalized experience. Tesla, who can announce a new vehicle and have a line around the corner the next day just to put $2,000 down to put your name on the list before it's even made, sight unseen. They've created a loyalty because they've got an interesting brand, interesting leadership, sometimes polarizing leadership. All of that is part of the brand dynamic that stimulates these aspirational behaviors. Apple is another aspirational brand who really wants you to come into their stores and experience something, do something different. Luxury brands, we've talked about it on this channel, really do a great job of accommodating our aspirational sensibilities in making us feel something experiential. So here's an example of all three at play. If I want to buy an iPad and I want to save the most money, I'm going to wait for Black Friday, and then I'm going to go into Walmart where my buying experience will really be to talk to a person who has minimum training on this device. Really, their job is going to be, can you unlock that chest of drawers and hand me the thing and I'm going to go buy it. Minimum experience, but I get the product for a cheap price. Or I don't wait for Black Friday, but I go to Amazon. And when I'm doing my research on Amazon, I can see what other people think, so I'm really making an informed decision, and then I can buy a couple suggested accessories, a case or cables or whatever. So that's really helpful to me, and they're even going to ship it to me in 2 days for free. I wish I could get it right now, but I'm willing to wait for 2 days for free because this was a really easy shopping experience. That's a practical shopping experience. I spent a little bit more because I didn't wait for Black Friday and I got it right away. So I'm going to drive 20 miles or whatever to the Apple store. And I'm going to go out of my way to do it, but when I get there, I'm going to be able to handle every device. I can tap it and touch it and I can see what's what. I can talk to an expert somebody who knows exactly what's going on, who's going to ask me a lot of leading questions so that they can better recommend a product to me. I've got available to me all this free training. Find out how I can do photography with it, how I can create things, do music. All that is just free. It's just part of the experience that Apple's trying to create for me. And I didn't pay any more than I paid at maybe Amazon, but I'm having a completely different experience. That's an aspirational. Each one of those stimulates different parts of my buying style. The aspirational buyer is more likely to come back again and again. The aspirational buyer is more likely to spend more money with me over time. If I'm an aspirational customer, I'm more likely to not just buy more from you, but to spread the good word to other people around me about how great you are. So it's a win-win. I get to feel like I'm having a great experience, and you as a brand, that investment is starting to pay off, not just in my returning business, but in my telling other people how cool you are. Let's look at some more real-world examples. Hotels are a great example of demonstrating these styles because they have spent a lot of time and resources figuring out exactly who they're trying to talk to, and you can see it played back to you in their marketing messages. So let's look at the Red Roof Inn. Pre-COVID, because everything's changed for hotels since then, but pre-COVID, this was what their homepage looked like. And if I spend just a little bit of time looking at this and scanning my eyes across it, I'm going to see really key transactional words. I'm going to see words like deals. Even if I look at the imagery, so here we've got young people who probably maybe don't have a lot of money. Maybe they're on the road. In this case, it looks like they're on a road trip of some kind. So I'm catering or I'm accommodating these people who are looking for an easy, convenient stay for a price that makes sense. And then the messaging is stay 2 times and earn a free night. So again, more free, more validation on this idea of saving the most or spending the least. So Red Roof Inn has done, I think, a really great job of being very specific about who they are trying to do business with. They're really interested in the transactional customer. They've got a business model built around, come stay with us, you're gonna save more money or you're gonna spend less money than going somewhere else. It's on purpose, it's intentional, and it's effective. Now, if we jump over to practical, we can look at Hilton Properties. And the first thing that I see at a Hilton website, again, pre-COVID, is an invitation to search, where do you wanna go? They have so many locations and so many different branches, so many different brands under the Hilton banner that they probably have a hotel wherever I want to go. So stop clicking around and start saving. Now the start saving, that's transactional language, but the stop clicking around, that's speaking to my desire to make it easy, to not waste a bunch of time. More language around stop clicking around, start earning a free vacation faster. So start earning a free vacation, transactional, but faster, that's around practical. Now for the aspirational, here we're looking at a hotel for a resort in Mexico. And this is a completely different experience. Nowhere do you see anything about pricing. Nowhere. You also don't see how easy it is to stay with us. You don't see how choose your location. We've got, resort locations everywhere. You don't see anything like that. What you see is a lot of experiential kind of language. So they're using these $50 words like escape, sensuality, spectacular, upscale, exemplary, redefining, casual yet sophisticated, all of the privileges. I mean, those are not words that Red Roof is using, and they're not words that Hilton is using. If I look at the imagery that I'm seeing on this page, it's a lot of maybe middle age or slightly after middle age. So the assumption is we like to do business with people who have money to do business with us. They're showing us the grounds and the facilities. They're trying to blow us away with how beautiful it is so that we can picture ourselves there. All of this is to create an aspirational perspective where you can't wait. You're so excited. You're really excited to get there. Let's look at Apple Watch, which we've talked about a ton on this channel lately, and see how specific and intentional Apple is about the way that they are manufacturing a marketing message specifically geared towards certain buying styles. If I look at the Apple Watch Series 3, the entry level, the first thing that I see is price. Good things come in 3 from $199. And then, this is a topic for another video, but they're actually going to teach me what this is. So the rest of this page is going to be sort of basic descriptions about what Apple Watch is and what it can do. But importantly, they They lead with price. They know that this customer is going to be really sensitive to talking about price, so let's head that off right away. Let's make it really easy for them. But here's what's interesting. If I go over to SE, first of all, an interesting thing to know is look at how much more sophisticated the marketing gets the higher up the chain I go. So here I start with a razzle-dazzle animation, but once again, I lead with price. Heavy on features, light on price. And then it tells me from whatever. Now, as I go on the page, I'm starting to get a little bit more show and a little less tell. So Apple is starting to bring in some descriptions, but they're also starting to show me some interesting imagery that reinforces what the marketing message is. But now look at what happens when we get into Series 6. The marketing platform is completely changed. Now I got all this really amazing cinematic kind of stuff, and Apple starts doing what it does on their websites where they're really doing a lot of dynamic movement around the page. But look what we didn't talk about at all. The first thing we talked about was health features and benefits. Nowhere is listed starting from X price. So they're really talking to now the practical consumer who's really interested in the conveniences that this is affording them, but also the aspirational, who isn't asking the first question, how much does it cost? They're really interested more in knowing what is the experience that I'm going to have with this thing. That only continues when we get up into the specialized models. Apple Watch, Nike, no talk about price. Right away, we start using language that will be aspirational for the athlete. Your ultimate running partner. Look at the $50 words. Exclusive Nike watch faces. Customizable. Streaks are the new brags, so the copywriting starts to take on a real elevated perspective. Twilight mode anytime is go time. They're really trying to turn the screws on the athlete who's really excited about all of the different features that are going to be in here, but more importantly, the experience that they're going to have inside of the Nike Run Club. Go further with the Nike Run Club app and all of the ways that this watch is going to make you have a better experience as an athlete. Get into Apple Watch Hermes, forget about it. It's all $50 words. The next chapter, iconic collaboration, elegant new connection, classic Hermes look, exclusive watch faces, ultimate union of heritage and innovation. Doesn't even talk to me about the features or what it can do or the many interesting ways that it can make my life more convenient. It's all about the experience. So as a consumer, if you land on a web page or you're in a retail store or a showroom or whatever, and somebody leads with price with you, it's not absolutely true, but keep your radar up because they may be thinking that you are a person who is most concerned about spending the least or saving the most. On the other hand, if you're blown away with all the conveniences, and there's some talk about price, but they really want you to be totally impressed with all the things it can do, they may be thinking that you are most impressed with and most looking for conveniences. If none of that is true, and you're being given $50 words that don't even describe how something works, but really just describe how you should be feeling, that's intentional. They're trying to get you to feel a certain thing, and that's about aspirational. Could be that they're going to get you to try to spend a lot more money than maybe you thought you would be, or they're going to try to deliver to you an amazing experience. This all kind of can fall apart if brands are unaware or undisciplined or unintentional about what they're trying to do. Are they trying to accommodate and nurture the transactional or the practical or the aspirational? Are they trying to get people to save money, save time, or have a really great experience? If you're not intentional about it, then the second thing that can happen is you can actually do the wrong thing at the wrong time. So some examples, I'll work with a lot of sales teams where the first time that they're pressed with an objection on price, I don't know, it's a little bit steep. That's an opportunity to say, hey, let me explain to you why that's a little bit more expensive. Or let me explain to you the value that you're going to get over time. Or we do hear that from our customers. And you know what? We're worth it because. You can really lean into that sometimes. Instead, a lot of salespeople will say, I'll give you 20% off. You might make the deal. But you also risk sort of setting a tone that says, this thing we're selling for $100 isn't really worth $100. It's more worth 80, and if you press me, I'll go down to 70. That can work against you. Because then if that person becomes a customer, they may become a transactional customer for life. Well, last time you gave it to me for 30% off. Why can't you do that this time? You're starting to set a tone and a precedent that you may have trouble escaping from. The same is true with practical customers. If you're checking your email and responding to your email at all hours, you're answering your phone during the weekend, you're setting a tone and setting a precedent for a customer that says, any time is a good time to talk. Now, you may build a business model around that, and that's cool if that's something that you've specifically done. But what you can find is you will have no boundaries, because somebody will say, I'm doing business with you because it's really convenient. I can reach you anytime. I can't believe that I can text you at midnight and you respond back to me. You can create a monster. You can create not just a single customer, but that person will tell his friends, and then his friends will tell their friends, and pretty soon you've built a tiny empire on being a person who never gets any sleep and doesn't have any weekends, because all you're doing is trying to accommodate people who really are looking for that convenience. And then at no time are you able to create the aspirational customer that you're really wanting to create. When you do it unintentionally, you may be a premium brand, but you lead with price on your website. Maybe you built something really amazing and it's $1,000 and you are absolutely not ashamed that it's $1,000, but you start with that on your website. Now just $1,000. Don't lead with price. Talk about all the amazing things it can do, the conveniences, but also the experiences that can be afforded. So that is a ton to cover, but now you are up to speed on buying styles. I wonder what your buying style is. And again, if you put this up next to that other video around flex, feels, or function, you can start to get a pretty clear idea of how people operate and how maybe you operate. And we've got more to talk about. I've got a lot more models that I'm going to share with you to better understand how brands sell to us and how we engage with those brands. That's what I think. What do you think? Leave a comment. I love reading all the things that you guys have to say and think and what's on your minds. I appreciate it too. I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe and comment on transmissions from Not Really Rocket Science. Learn more at notreallyrocketscience.com.